I found a photo that was taken by Jane Campbell on Paint My Photo, or pmp-art.com, where you can get all kinds of royalty-free or copyright-free images. So I found a daffodil that I liked, and I've measured the inside of this frame so that this will fit in here. And I've taken my measurements, so I know I want my painting to be this big, which is going to be 4.5 inches or 11 centimeters by 6.5 inches or 16.5 centimeters. So I've got this black and white copy of the photo that Jane Campbell took, and the way that I can transfer this image onto either a gessoed piece of paper or a canvas, you can do it 2 different ways. You can do what I did here, and you just take a regular pencil and you go across the back of your paper, and I'm going to make it extra dark just so I can see it a little bit better. Or you can use graphite paper, which you can find in craft stores. The one nice thing about graphite paper is erasable on a canvas, and regular pencil is not erasable on a canvas. I might be wrong about that. You can correct me if I'm wrong. So what I've done is I've completely covered the back of this so that when I get either my canvas or the gessoed paper that I'm going to use, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just copy the outline of the daffodil onto whatever. So I was just trying it on this. So I accidentally copied it here, and then when I copied it again, I copied it a second time too small. But there's basically graphite here. So if I wanted to, then you just trace the shape of the flower. Now you can freehand the daffodil. I'm just showing you doing it this way in case you don't feel confident with your freehanding. So I'm just basically doing these shapes, and then once I turn it over, and it doesn't really matter how the edges look here. And then what it does is it transfers it. I don't know if you can see that. Of course, that's not graphite and that's not pencil. But as you can see, it kind of does an outline for you so that you can use that as a footprint to do your painting. I've determined the size of opening I need for my next painting. I've based it on this frame. Of course, I can't get all the way into the corner because I've got this plastic here. But I measured the opening of this, and that's why this is taped off here. I've got it taped off bigger than this opening, so I've got a little bit of playroom. So now the next thing is, this is the image that I got off of paintmyphoto.com, and on the back I did more of this with my pencil to make sure I've got lots of graphite on the back of this drawing. So I can place this wherever I want. I can have the image like this, or I can turn it so that it's like that, or I've got it facing up. It can be whatever direction I want. And it seems like this is going to be up in this journal. So usually, so that being up, usually daffodils face sideways. So I'm thinking this is how I'm going to have my daffodil in here. I could have it a little askew going down, because sometimes when daffodils are a little older, they kind of face down a little bit. So I think this will be about where I'm going to trace this now. So I'm going to just follow right here, and then what I'll do is I'll just kind of draw this one here. And then just go around all of the petals. I'm not going to worry about the stems because I'm just going to do a basic green background. Then there we go. So that's the basic pattern that I'm going to use to paint my daffodil. I've got Jane Campbell's daffodil traced onto my gessoed watercolor paper. And the colors I'm going to use are going to be Artists Loft, titanium white, and lemon yellow. I'm going to make it a very, very, very light yellow for the outer petals. And then I'm going to do more of a yellow and orange for the trumpet. And then the background is going to be greens. So I'm going to mix these together and I'll show you the paints that I'm using. Last time I used Master's Touch and they didn't work very well for me on the gessoed watercolor paper. So here's this set, which is Artists Loft. And these are the colors that are in this kit. And then also for fun, I thought I'd try this set as well. And this is Artists Loft Color Shift acrylic paints. And these are the colors. Let's see, so it's not shining on there. Those are the colors that are in here. So I'm not going to use them. I'm not going to use these color changing ones solely, but I will add these color changing ones to certain colors. So the green, when I start doing the green background, I'll mix some of this asteroid in. I've not used these color changing, excuse me, I'm having some club soda and it's making me burpy. I haven't used these color changing ones much. As you can tell by the tubes, they don't look squeezed yet. So maybe I'll put a little bit of this Days in with this yellow and white mixture and see how it turns out. So I want a real light yellow. I mean, some daffodils are yellow and yellow, some are white and yellow, some are white and a little more orange. So however I paint this, it's completely up to me. And, I'm going to do white petals and more of an orange trumpet. So I don't know how well it'll turn out. I haven't done a prototype, so I don't know how well this is going to turn out because this is the first time I've painted this. So we're learning together. So what I'm going to do is I'm basically just going to outline all of the petals in this color. And I know we're going to be able to see the pencil line through all of that, but when I do the green, I'm going to cover up those pencil lines. So I'm just going to start there. So Jane Campbell's reference picture, which I printed in black and white, you can see that it's darker here, and then a darker vein here and here, and a little bit darker here, and then some darker veining. So I'm going to start just working on doing some darker yellow to see if I can get some veining to show up. All right, so I've got some darker there. Now I'm going to come back with the yellow and white mixture and kind of blend in some of the yellow with that. To soften that darkness up so it's not so in your face. And then I'll just keep going back and forth until I'm happy with how I've blended the darker parts of the petal color and the lighter parts of the petal color. I think I might add a little bit more brightness. Looks like I'm losing some contrast in here. Let's maybe do a little bit of yellow here and there as well. Bring some whites this way. And then what I'm going to do is just keep going back and forth with colors until I'm happy with how this is turning out. So I'm not going to bore you with it all. I'll just keep going back and forth, and I'll show you after I finish with the yellow. Okay, I'm going to turn and do the same thing to this petal now. And what I do is just took the titanium white and some of the color changing white, put it together. And I want it nice and light. Where the trumpet starts, like this section, I want it nice and light down at this part. All right. I might go back and change that up a little bit, but to start with, I think that's a good start for those petals. The next I think I'm going to do is start working on the center part of it here. The outer, for my daffodil, I'm going to have it darker on the outside and have it brighter on the inside. So I think I'm going to go ahead and outline or color this section right here with the bright yellow, but then I'll tone it down later. But since I've got it on my palette here, I might as well use it. And of course, this isn't crucial because I'm going to be covering it up with a darker color as well. This side's going to be darker, so I'll be able to hopefully cover up these pencil lines. And if I don't get rid of the pencil lines with my painting, okay, it's a part of my painting. I'm okay with that. It's just a junk journal cover painting, so I'm okay with that. Oh, it sounds like my husband's printing something. That's my printer in the background. And I'll go ahead and pause here while I get the next colors ready for the trumpet. The colors I chose for the trumpet I've got here, and it's going to be the yellow ochre, the vermilion, and then I wanted a little bit of the color changing, so I put a little of the bliss. Looks like it changes to this color. I don't even know how well these will work. So I've got these all in my palette, so I'm going to add a little bit of white to this. See if I like how this turned out. It's not very orange. Let me add a little more of the white onto there to lighten that up. Okay, so I'm going to say from this section down, I'm going to do the darker. It's easier for me to do my strokes this way. Okay. Okay, look how that looks. Now, how do I want to do here? Let's see. I want to have quite a bit more contrast. Oh, that's pretty contrasty. That bright yellow and the orange, that's quite contrasty. I think I'll let this edge dry a little bit, and I'm going to start working on the greens in the background. And then once this is dry a little bit more, then I'll go back in and change it the way I want to change it. So I'm going to go ahead and pause it here while I go ahead and get my greens ready. I've got my greens chosen. So for the darkest green, I've got Hooker's green And I added a little bit of ultramarine blue to it because I don't like how dark this is, and I don't like the color of it. So I'm adding a little bit of blue to this darker green. And then also I'm doing the asteroid color changing to it as well. So these three colors are right here. And then for the medium green, I'm doing the same dark hooker's green plus viridian green. That will be my medium, which is right there. And then for the light, I'm doing the viridian green, the lemon yellow, and the white. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the darkest greens around here and go out. And the next color I will do will be the medium green. So let me get my palette knife here and get this mixed up. Yeah, that's dark. When you add a previous color to another color, it kind of marries your painting together a little bit more. So I'm going to use this same small, looks like I've just been using this small round throughout the whole thing. So what I'm going to do is take this dark green here and I'm going to go around the flower. And then I'm going to try and cover up that pencil line there. So then I want to go this way with my strokes. And I'm just going to do that all the way around and I'll show you how it turned out. Now that I've gone around and made directional strokes around the petals, this is where I started, so it's darker there. Now I'm going to go for the medium color and kind of work more this direction with it. It doesn't really look too much different than the dark, does it? I ran my camera out of battery yesterday, so I went ahead and finished this off camera. So I'm going to go ahead and do the reveal, pulling the tape off and then putting it inside my faux journal that I'm using to display my painted covers. I have to say, I'm not really thrilled with the little tube paints that I've been using, both the Master's Touch and the Artists Loft. It seems like I have more luck doing my acrylic paintings if I go ahead and use just the regular bottled stuff that you can find at any craft store. All right, so there's the finish. I chose to do this as kind of like just a different background. So let's try it in here. Got another net. And there we go. Whoops, let me lift that up so you can see it a little bit better. Well, I hope you enjoyed that, and I was definitely inspired by the spring daffodils that are blooming. I wonder if it would look better if I had it that direction, because the light is brighter up here and then the shadow is down here. Thanks for watching.